The Israelites, led by Joshua, stood poised to enter the promised land, a land flowing with milk and honey as promised by their God. Yet a formidable obstacle lay before them: Jericho, a heavily fortified city with walls that seemed to touch the sky. Its towering walls and resolute inhabitants presented a daunting challenge to the weary travellers who had already endured so much on their journey. Jericho was a symbol of resistance, a barrier between the Israelites and their long-awaited inheritance, a land they had dreamed of for generations. The fate of a nation rested on their ability to overcome this mighty stronghold, a task that required not just strength, but also strategy and faith. The people were filled with a mix of anticipation and trepidation, their hearts heavy with the weight of what lay ahead. They had heard tales of Jericho's strength and the fierceness of its warriors, stories that had been passed down through generations. The task ahead seemed insurmountable, testing their faith and resolve, pushing them to the very limits of their endurance. Would they be able to conquer this seemingly impregnable city, or would their efforts be in vain? Or would their journey end in defeat, their dreams dashed against those imposing walls, leaving them to wonder if they would ever see the promised land? God, aware of their apprehension, reassured Joshua with a detailed plan. This plan was unlike any other, a divine strategy that defied conventional wisdom and human logic. This was not a battle that would be won by might or military strategy. It was a battle of obedience and faith. The Israelites were called to trust in something greater than their own strength. God's instructions were specific and unusual, a test of the Israelites' willingness to trust in the divine plan even when it seemed illogical. Joshua, with unwavering faith, conveyed these instructions to his people. March around the city once with all the armed men, God commanded, a seemingly simple yet profound act of faith. Do this for 6 days. Each day the Israelites followed this command, their faith growing stronger with each step. Have 7 priests carry trumpets of ram's horns in front of the ark. These trumpets, symbols of divine intervention, led the procession. On the 7th day, march around the city 7 times, with the priests blowing the trumpets. This final act of faith was the culmination of their obedience. When you hear them sound a long blast on the trumpets, have the whole army give a loud shout, a shout that would echo their trust in God's promise. Then the wall of the city will collapse and the army will go up, everyone straight in. Joshua 6:3-5. This miraculous victory was a testament to the power of faith and divine guidance. Following God's command, the Israelites marched around Jericho once a day for 6 days. Leading the procession were the priests, their trumpets sounding a solemn call. Behind them followed the Ark of the Covenant, a symbol of God's presence. Bringing up the rear was the Israelite army, their weapons ready yet silent. Each day the inhabitants of Jericho watched from their walls, their laughter and mockery echoing down to the marching Israelites. Yet day after day, the Israelites continued their silent march, their faith unwavering, their obedience absolute. Walls crumble, victory resounds. On the 7th day, the Israelites rose before dawn and marched around Jericho 7 times, just as God had commanded. As they completed the 7th circuit, the priests blew a long blast on their trumpets. A deafening roar arose from the throats of the Israelites, and then the earth shook. The mighty walls of Jericho, which had stood for centuries, crumbled into dust. The Israelites, with a triumphant shout, surged forward, overwhelming the stunned and terrified inhabitants. Jericho, the impregnable city, had fallen. A testament to faith. The fall of Jericho was more than a military victory. It was a moment that transcended the physical realm, touching the very essence of belief and divine intervention. It was a powerful testament to the Israelites' faith and obedience to God. Their unwavering trust and adherence to divine instructions set them apart. It demonstrated that with God on their side, nothing was impossible. The walls that seemed impenetrable crumbled with the sound of their faith. The victory at Jericho served as a source of encouragement and inspiration for the Israelites as they continued their conquest of the Promised Land. It was a beacon of hope, a reminder that their journey was guided by a higher power. The story of Jericho reminds us that even when faced with seemingly insurmountable obstacles, faith and obedience to God can bring about miraculous victories. It teaches us that no challenge is too great when we place our trust in the divine. It is a timeless tale of courage, trust, and the power of the divine. This story continues to inspire generations, reminding us of the boundless possibilities that faith can unlock. Subscribe, like, and share.